Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Punjab, Karnataka became the fourth state on Wednesday to waive off farm loans. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah announced a relief package worth 8,000 crore rupees that could bring relief to 22 lakh farmers in the state.
Succumbing to the pressure of opposition parties from various farmer groups, finally, Karnataka has decided to waive off the farm loans. Now, this means that Karnataka is the fourth state in the country after Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and the Punjab government to waive off the farm loans. According to the Karnataka Legislative Assembly, CM Siddaramaiah decided to waive off the farm loans, which stands at rupees 8,165 crores.
Definitely, it will have to be borne by the taxpayers. Okay, there is no doubt in that because the state has no other place to get its resources from.
What they're waiving off is 8,000,
yes.
Right? But what is existing is about 35,000. So it's a very small amount they're giving.
I think it's a welcome move to waive off the farm loans. But the issue is that this takes care of only a section of the farmers because a lot of farmers have also taken loans from nationalized banks and the regional rural banks.
Meanwhile, up north in Madhya Pradesh, the state has yet to take a decision on farm loan waivers. This while farmers burdened by debt commit suicide. 15 farmers have died in the last 10 days in the state alone, 2 of whom killed themselves on Thursday.
चना में सर लगभग घाटा लग गया 90-95 हज़ार का, इसलिए उनको वो टेंशन हो गई कि घाटा हो गया, मेरे ऊपर कर्जा हो गया, इसी चक्कर में उन्होंने आत्महत्या कर ली.
But that did not deter Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu from trivializing the agrarian crisis by saying that farm loan waiver has now become a fashion.
पैसा का जरूरत है तो उसको लोन लेंगे, बैंक भी लोन लेंगे. अभी एक फैशन हो गया, आजकल लोन लिया तो लोन वेवर करो. ये लोन किसका, पैसा किसका है? स्टेट बैंक में जो जमा है अरुंधति जी का मैडम का पैसा है क्या? आप लोगों का पैसा है?
A statement he was quick to issue a clarification on.
Some people are quoting it out of context, I am told. Of course, I should not have given scope for them to misinterpret also. But that was in the context of addressing the problems of infrastructure, including the problems of the farmers, wherein I said we are not addressing the problems in the long term. We are trying to address the problems in short term.
The agrarian crisis has caused unrest in multiple states across the country. While the Union Minister has retracted his statement on the urban debate, we ask, are our elected representatives trivializing farmers' distress? Mirror Now report.
Very interesting conversation to have tonight here on the urban debate. Venkaiah Naidu asking, fashion ho gaya hai loan lena aur waive karna. He then goes on to say he's referring to the approach of short-term methods. He went on to say that people should have, that we should build godowns, that they should have cold storage, you should have refrigerative vans, farmers should be given remunerative price. I agree with you, Mr. Naidu, but who's going to do it if not the government? The question we're asking this evening is, are farm loan waivers in fact, are they in fact fashionable? And if they are, where's the money going to come from? And as we continue to witness the suicides and deaths of farmers across the country, is the government completely trivializing all of this by calling it fashionable? Has this entire crisis among our agrarian farmers been completely mishandled by our government? Joining me on the show this evening, Dinesh Gundurao, President of the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee. We must remember that the Karnataka government has decided on a waiver as well. Prakash Ambedkar is the President of the Bharatiya Republican Prakash Bahujan Mahasangh. We're very glad to have him on the show. Shaina NC is a national spokesperson of the BJP. Yogesh Pandey is representing the Shetkari Sanghthan. Deepak Tiwari is a journalist and the political analyst at The Week. He joins us from Madhya Pradesh. He has a very keen understanding of what's happening in Madhya Pradesh. Chengal Reddy is a farmer activist who will join us through the course of this conversation. Akash Jindal is an economist. And Chandrashekhar is a commodity expert. I welcome all of you to this conversation. I'm going to start with Mr. Prakash Ambedkar. Mr. Prakash Ambedkar, thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. To say that farm loans have now become a fashion,
for inviting me also.
Do you believe that's actually trivializing everything our farmers are going through, the distress in our farm community right now?
Let me refer to one of Dr. Ambedkar's first thesis, that is small holdings in India, which he wrote nearly about in 1918, if I am not wrong, if the year is not wrong. There he analyzed the issue of the small farmers. There he mentioned three things. One, he said, when the population increases, the production of the land goes down, and there are many people, and there's less food. This is the one issue which he raised. Second issue which he raised is that these small farmers do not have the means of cultivation, and therefore the government should step in to provide the cultivation. The third, he said, is that the government should, since the land holdings are small, therefore their holding capacity is very small, and therefore they have to sell it in the market at a distressed price. What he wrote in 1918 even continues today. There is no change as far as situation is concerned. Even we'll be completing 100 years after what he said. And infrastructure, as far as agriculture goes, there is no infrastructure as such. If you see the marketing system, there is no marketing system. He still continues on the old dalals and the markets forces which loot him at in the mandis. And therefore, the statement that has been made by the minister is an astonishing statement, saying that the loan waiver is a fashion. If the same minister studies what England is doing, what France is doing, US is doing, let me tell you, last year the US government gave 20,000 crores as a subsidy to the cotton growing farmers. The same is happening in Australia, the same is happening in other countries. Knowing very well that this is a product, it's a lifeline of a common man, and therefore it should be available at a rate which the common man can afford. But then the state governments and the state government steps in to give him a subsidy. Now here we don't give him subsidy. Whatever subsidy that is given to the industrial sector. And the industrial sector never passes it on to the farmers.
Right. Let me I understand what you're saying. We're joined by Shaina NC, who is the representative of the BJP, the national spokesperson of the BJP right now. I want her to respond to what you just said, Mr. Ambedkar. Shaina NC, it has been nearly 100 years since B.R. Ambedkar pointed out how we should be looking after our farmers. None of that has been done. And at a point like this, when we are talking about farmer distress, when we are talking about farmer suicides, to have a union minister say that it's fashionable right now to take loans and not pay them back, or it's fashionable right now to hand out farm loan waivers when various BJP state governments are doing it as well, it sends out a very confusing and rather insensitive message.
At the outset, let me please say that our government is extremely sensitive towards farmers, the agricultural situation, and we have divided it between short-term solutions and long-term solutions. Now, we all know that the short-term solutions are loan waivers, giving freebies, subsidies, SOPs, but is this a holistic solution? Or is this just a temporary measure? And especially for a state like Maharashtra, which is debt-ridden to the tune of 3.8 lakh crores thanks to previous governments, it is a very Herculean task. Despite that, our Chief Minister has announced a 30,000 crore package. I think that is one aspect. Now, the second and most important is, what are the long-term solutions? It's all very well to say that, for 100 years the farmers have been neglected, but whose governments have they been? I don't want to get into a political one-upmanship, but do understand that Modi ji, whether it is making sure that you have insurance schemes, pension schemes, bank loans, cash-rich crops, soil cards, better irrigation in Maharashtra, Jalyuk, Shivar, I can go on and on about for probably an hour of your show. Or for that matter, even simple things like one drop per crop, which is a technology from Israel which we're trying to incorporate. I did hear your previous panelist speaking about...
for a minute.
May I just complete my point, sir? I listened to you very intently. May I just complete my point, please?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me also please say that, people...
Yes.
people who have talked about what has your government done, what is your government doing. A state like Maharashtra, with Jalyuk Shivar, we know that how many thousands of villages are drought-free and irrespective of climatic conditions in a position to sustain. What do we want? We want the farmers to be educated, to be secure and to be economically empowered, and that's the direction we're working in. Modi ji's government and our government has launched this ENAM cards. We have done away with the middleman. What I was listening to your previous panelists talk about, oh, the middleman, and look at the kind of loss of revenue. We've done away with that system. You can actually sell from your place right to the consumer. And this is the first time in the history of India. So,
all right, Shaina, the previous panelist was Prakash Ambedkar. The previous panelist was Prakash Ambedkar talking about what was written by his grandfather. He wants to rebut, but I want to bring in other panelists as well. Mr. Ambedkar, very quickly, go ahead, and then I'll bring in the rest of the panel.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Voice has gone. Hello. Hello.
We'll try and get that connection back again. Let me just bring in the rest of the panelists. Yogesh Pandey of the Shetkari Sanghthan. Yogesh Pandey, it's confusing right now. On one hand, the government, it sounds like they're being arm twisted to hand out farm loan waivers that they don't really believe in. Yogesh Pandey, as a representative of the farmers, do you believe?
Firstly, I strongly condemn the statement given by our honourable minister. It's a very shameful statement. That क्या पैसा देना है और ये क्या कौन चुकाएगा ये फैशन हो गया. Like if you go to speak by fashion, the changing clothes 4 times a day is a fashion. Let's keep that aside. Now, what is the condition of farmer in last 50 years? If you see farmers, what he sow and what he get in return. Totally, if 100 rupees sold in farm, he gets 60 rupees. For last 50 years, farmers in this nation are in a debt, and what the returns he get is in a distressed condition. Now, if you see, the farming is a very complex activity. It contains a lot of risk of climate, pricing, policy, on all sort of risk. Now, why can't we have an approach where we can have a high return for a high risk? But sadly, all the policy makers have been a failure in not only this government, but also past government. And what now Honorable Lady was saying that Jalyuk Shivar and there are a lot of schemes for farming, absolutely not correct. Yesterday also 7 farmers have suicide in our state. Now, when we come about the package of this declared by our government at 30,000 crore declare, it is not correct. I don't think what she is saying is not correct. There is no figure. Every day new statements are arrived, every day, and still there is no solution, no amicable, peaceful solution. Now, all the political parties should sit together and find a solution for the farmers. Now, when we look at what are the total debt in our country, the total exposure to farming sector is around 12.75 crore, out of which 35% loan is given to 80% farmer. 80% farmers are marginal farmer. And if you calculate that figure, it was around 4.5 lakh crore. Now, if you go to on other side, 10 to 12 corporate are holding 5 lakh crore as debt. And on other side, 80% farmers. And if you go through population measure, out of 120 crore, nearly 70% people are in farming, and out of which if you go to 80%. So this is the stage. And that's why we need a waiver. Why waiver? Farmers are not beggar. But now he needs a life support. It's very urgent. There is a SOS. And there is an urgent need for a waiver. But sadly, the mockery is made about his waiver. And the reckless statements are issued by this government. It's very sad state. I don't think
Let me bring in
Yes.
Dinesh Gundurao. Dinesh Gundurao represents the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee. The Karnataka government has just approved a farm loan waiver worth 8,165 crore rupees. The state is at a current total debt of 2 lakh crore rupees. Mr. Gundurao, where will the money come from? Where will the 8,100 crore rupees come from? And also, do you agree that it is fashionable right now to waive loans?
I think it's completely insensitive and insulting remark made by the Honorable Minister, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. He says it's become fashionable and loan waiver should be done during extreme distress. Now, if this is not distress situation in India, then what is distress? You are ready to write off loans to corporates. You are ready to help the corporates out to revive their industry. But what about the farmer? This is an extreme distress situation faced across the country in many states. And if such a off-the-cuff, light remark is made by the minister, I think it is completely insults the farming community, and he should apologize, and he should say, I made a wrong statement, and he should retract from it. But I do not know what he's going to say. Let's wait and watch. And at the same time, now the central government today, we hear a lot of names, lot of slogans saying we are for the farmer, but they have deceived the people of the country. The BJP clearly said, hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Hello? I think it's got cut.
Yeah.
Okay. The BJP clearly said in the manifesto that we will give 50% on the input cost according to Swaminathan report. That is the manifesto statement of the BJP.
To be fair, Dinesh, that is true. I have with me the promises that the BJP government. I have with me, Mr. Gundurao, forgive me. I have with me the promises that the BJP government made to the agriculture sector during the elections. But the Swaminathan committee report was submitted in 2006 when a Congress government was in power. And if the Congress government believed really that that committee report should be implemented, there was no reason why you couldn't have implemented it when the government was in power. Agreed that there are promises that have not been kept, but promises that have not been kept by both governments.
No,
Can
but
I just add one question to that question before he replies?
Yes, we were looking into the report, but we never committed. We never committed to saying that. And if we commit, you should do it. Then why do you put it out in the manifesto?
Can I just come in?
You put out so many things in a manifesto and you don't even implement it.
Shaina, go ahead. Shaina, go ahead.
So that's the second question. The third question is, the Prime Minister of the country goes to Uttar Pradesh.
I'll just add one thing.
When he's given during elections, he says, I'm going to do loan waiver in UP. When the Prime Minister speaks, you know, this government has had windfall profits in the last 3 years to the tune of 5 to 6 lakh crores on petroleum pricing. Why can't they have a loan waiver like what UPA did during Manmohan Singh's time of 75,000 crores, which we did that time? Why can't this government do? Why can't they stand by the farmer during acute distress?
But so here's my question. All right. I'm going to give Shaina an opportunity to rebut what you're saying, and then I want to open this up to the rest of the panel. 1 second. Shaina, go ahead. Yes.
I just want to say, you know, this Congress party comes on every television channel and keeps talking about what wrong we are doing. Please ask them what were the implementations of the Swaminathan report during their tenure. They choose just not to answer that, and when they're questioned, they say, oh, but we never promised to implement it. We only asked for a report. Are you so dumb that you would spend so much time, energy and request for a report and not implement it during the time? No, 1 minute. Please let me finish my point.
Can I say one thing?
I want to ask, you know, this whole thing of saying
Shaina, NC, you being a spokesperson, admit to the fact that BJP has deceived the people of India.
You see,
you have deceived the country
because
you promised.
Okay, hang on. Let me just remind representatives of our political parties that we don't speak over each other on the show because the audience cannot understand you. Everyone just calm down for a second.
To protect the farmer under the GATT agreement.
Each other.
Right. Everybody just calm down for a second. If we talk over each other, the audience cannot understand you. I want to bring in the voices who have not spoken up until now, and then we'll all get a chance to rebut. I see Akash Jindal with his hand up. Akash, you know, the point I want to put forward to our audience is this. Both governments have ignored the Swaminathan committee report. Both governments have done it. The UPA government started handing out farm loan waivers, after which the UP government has done it, and now all other governments, whether they're having to do it because their arms are being twisted behind their backs or they do it willfully, they're setting a precedent of handing out farm loan waivers. My question is, don't any of these governments have any new ideas on how to solve the crisis? There is a crisis. Our farmers are suffering. Handing out farm loan waivers is the only idea you have had in 60 years. There must be better things that we can do. How many governments have actually done something different on the ground or waited until the crisis reached a point where the farm loan waiver was the only option? Akash Jindal, go ahead.
Firstly, I have a request. I think neutral people should get more chance, more opportunity than our politician friends. Now, let me start by saying I have the highest respect for our farmers. In Hindi, we call them Annadatas. Now, they need to be helped. It's the duty of the government, central government, state governments, or I would say every citizen of India, it's our duty to help them. But loan waivers, is it a good solution? According to me, it is not a good solution for our farmer brothers itself. What our farmers need is better money for their crops, better money for their produce, more yield per hectare. These are the two foremost things which they need. Apart from that, what they need is better irrigation, automation, better storage, better infrastructure, opportunity to get good prices, direct marketing platforms, many other things which need to be done, and you are very right, it has not been done in the past 70 years. We don't have an agriculture policy. Now, coming on to issue number 2, if we resort to the farm loan waiver, though I don't think it's going to help, because one thing we need to understand, 90% of our farmers own less than 2 hectares of land, and those brothers of ours don't have bank loans, they don't get bank loans. Only big farmers are having bank loans. The small farmer brothers of ours, they have borrowed from money lender where there's no respite. So it's not going to help. And had farm loan waivers been helping, we have been doing it over the years. Where have we reached? We are at an unfortunate state where we daily get news that one brother has committed suicide there, one has committed suicide there. So now where does the money come from? Everybody has been asking, let me answer it. There are 3 ways. First is a state to cut the expenditure. According to me, it's very difficult for a state to cut expenditure, because what would it cut? Would it cut money on welfare schemes or growth schemes? It can't cut. It can't cut on health, education or sanitation.
Okay.
Second way is to have more taxes. Now, in the year of GST, and this would be experimentation of GST, it would be very difficult to have more taxes because people need to understand. Third would be perhaps the easiest option, to raise more debt. If the states, they waive farm loans and raise more debt. But they're already in debt.
All right, Akash, I get the point you're making. I just want to bring in Deepak Tiwari. Deepak Tiwari is a very senior journalist from Bhopal. Deepak, 1 second. Deepak, I want to ask you this question. Very confusing messages being sent to us by the central government. While the minister is at the BSc, where he wants to seem pro-business and pro-capitalist, he will say that, listen, we think this is a bad idea. But we have several BJP governments, starting with the UP government, that handed out the farm loan waiver to begin with and started this whole thing rolling. Why is it so confusing for the government to take a stand and tell us very clearly what they feel? And do you believe that the farmers in Madhya Pradesh right now will be offended by the fact that we have a union minister who has called this fashionable?
Oh, certainly, because in Madhya Pradesh, though farm loan waiver is not a major issue in that matter, but still, like in Madhya Pradesh, the state government gives a loan to farmers on 0% interest rate, but that is through cooperative banks. But cooperative banks doesn't cover entire farm sector, because most of the farmers, they don't go to cooperative banks, because cooperative banks, they have their own limitation. They will say that out of 1 lakh rupees, the maximum limit in cooperative banks is 1 lakh rupees. And out of that, they'll say that 50% we will give you in seeds and fertilizers. And seeds and fertilizers, that altogether is a different story in Madhya Pradesh. It was only 4-5 days back that member of parliament from Balaghat, a BJP member of parliament from Balaghat, he fought with the state agriculture minister on or during a public meeting, saying that why you people, you are supplying these fake seeds. I have lost 40 acres of my soybean crop. So these are the issues. So, but in Madhya Pradesh, certainly people, they will be farmers, they will be feeling offended, because Madhya Pradesh is the state where BJP in 1990s, they have started this trend of farm loan waiver. BJP came to power in 1990, Sundarlal Patwa, with the statement, Bhajapa ka kehna saaf, har kisan ka karza maaf. So BJP was taken as a party who used to waive loans. Then we had 10 years of Digvijay Singh. Now again this government. Certainly, Madhya Pradesh farmers, they are in distress. They will feel very, I'll say rather cheated, because Madhya Pradesh is the state which has voted hugely for BJP in center and in state.
Right. You know, I want to bring in Chengal Reddy. Chengal Reddy, you're wearing right now a green piece of cloth to show us that you're a farmer activist, but apparently you're also fashionable, Chengal Reddy, because this sort of borrowing loans and not paying it back makes you very fashionable.
Yes, yeah, definitely. When we borrow little money and not pay, it's a problem, fashionable. But somebody borrows millions and billions and trillions, it's not fashionable. Then everybody gives wonderful excuses, justifications. Now let me tell you, you were asking about this loan waiver, whether it's a problem or not. See, first of all, I want to make it clear to you, the issue today before the farmers of India is not Madhya Pradesh or Chief Minister or Maharashtra loan waiver. No, the question is where farmers are very clear. First and foremost, you must understand, in 2014, BJP manifesto has clearly said, these are the problems, these are the solutions. When Mr. Murali Manohar Joshi prepared this manifesto, he was very clear because he did a detailed study and there was a lot of representation. The first thing in that is that we will pay MSP at cost of production plus 3% or 50%. Now that's the first thing in BJP agriculture manifesto. And the first thing Mr. Modi broke is that in about 6 months' time he filed an affidavit in Supreme Court saying that he is not going to pay. Number one. Second thing, what happened, in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh were paying 150 rupees bonus and Mr. Modi directed them not to pay. That is second one. And then in the last 2 years of Mr. Modi's government, while on one side they went on encouraging pulses and oilseeds production, he went on importing where the prices have crashed and there was no procurement mechanism. And the last but not least is the demonetization. He destroyed the entire cash transaction in the rural areas, finishing us. Now comes the question, why is that farmers across the country are demanding loan waiver? And remember, the second common most important thing is MSP at cost of production and 50%. Today you are discussing about the state governments and problems. No, we are not worried, we have no confusion, madam. See, whatever the loan waivers is by Madhya Pradesh and all that is nothing. We are not going to care for that. Our main demand as of today and tomorrow, and it is going to be, who is going to pay minimum support price at cost of production plus 50%. And the person we are going to ask is, Mr. Modi, you did it, you said it, and your own Mr. Shah, you written it in your BJP manifesto. Now let me tell you about this joke. I don't think personally I know Mr. Venkaiah Naidu is a very serious man, but we did realize this mischief and double talk of BJP and Modi long time back, when about 2 years back, this Mr. BJP President Amit Shah said, "Ye Jumla," I don't know what the damn thing is. That fellow thinks that he can give promises and get away.
Okay.
Then we have seen the Supreme Court.
All right. I just want to bring up one thing, and I know that Shaina will want to respond to this, Mr. Reddy. Shaina will want to respond to this. Mr. Ambedkar, I'm going to come to you immediately after that. 1 second, Shaina. The point is also that in Karnataka, where the BJP is in opposition, they have come out and said.
Before she replies, I just want to put in one question.
Go ahead, sir.
Before she replies, I just want to put in one question. Yeah, let them say the FCI, Food Corporation of India, this year did they purchase the food grains? Because the FCI this time every year purchases up 25 to 26% of the food grain that is produced in this country. According to my information, this year the FCI has not procured any food grain stock. And therefore, there is abundant stock of 25%, therefore the prices has fallen down. Is this fact or not? I just want to ask the BJP representative.
Do you want to respond to that? Please go ahead.
This is factually incorrect, and please do understand that our Food Development Corporation has even given timelines as to when the provisions need to be supplied and when they will be accepted by the government.
No, and I'm just asking you, what is the quantum? What is the quantum of purchase by FCI?
Any kind of rumor mongering.
What is the quantum of purchase by FCI this year?
They should understand.
If you can specify the quantum, I think so that would answer as to why the farmers are agitating today.
Government websites, you go on to the.
Question is, I want the answer from you. I don't want the answer from the public domain. You give the figure as to what is the procurement made by FCI this year.
So let him answer. Let her answer. Mr. Ambedkar, let her answer the question.
I'm not spreading anything. I'm just asking you.
Let her answer the question.
Let her answer. It's a very specific question.
So I'm answering
what is the quantum of procurement by FCI this year?
If you have the patience.
Yeah. Okay.
If you have the patience to listen, please do
and
go ahead.
To you.
The FDI has not only given a timeline, has also said that the schedule, I think you decide, Faye, when this monologue needs to end.
Right, please allow her to answer. Shaina Nancy, please go ahead. Shaina Nancy, go ahead. Shaina Nancy, go ahead.
As to what,
since you are avoiding the question, I'm repeating the question.
As to what will be procured, when it should be procured, and what the payment terms would be. I just want to say that, you know, your panelists have been talking about, oh, this is the plight of farmers. There are lots of very rich farmers also who are manipulating the system, and we all know who they are. So let me not get into that.
Shaina Nancy, I'm sorry, I draw the line there. If you're telling us that there are rich farmers manipulating the system and you know who they are, then please bring them under the tax net and tax them and penalize them. You cannot tell me that you know who these people are. You're allowing them to manipulate the system.
Just keep quiet.
Fail to procure from the open market.
If you let me complete my point, or shall I just keep quiet and sit here?
One second. I just want to ask Shaina Nancy this question. Shaina, one second. Let me ask the question. Right, my question is, you just said that you know who the rich farmers are, you know who's manipulating the system. Why can they not brought be under the tax net? Why is it that the Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, has turned around quite categorically and said, rich farm, we have no intention of taxing rich farmers? Why is that?
Which government has had, which government has had the courage of conviction to take down and take on all these middlemen and dalals who are hoarders? Every time there has been hoarding or any raid conducted, it has been done in our government with the full knowledge that you cannot manipulate the system. Why is there so much anxiety, unrest between certain sections which are being supported by opposition parties? Is it the larger cause of the farmers, or is it just to try and, destabilize our government that is on a track to do good work? Please understand, there are lots of questions that we can also raise. But
Yogesh Pandey, are the farmers truly in distress, or is this opposition? Yogesh Pandey of the Shetkari Sanghthan, are you truly in distress, or is this opposition?
What Shaina is saying is totally absurd. That is not the case. Then farmers are not being triangulated as the opposition. Farmers know very well what not to do. Now, I want to ask her one question. Why is government importing edible oil? Just answer me one question. That 14 million tons of edible oil has been imported. Question is, why are farming asking for a waiver? If they are given adequate price, they will not require any waiver. They don't need any mercy of this government. And not even any government. In past 30-40 years, not only this government, all are responsible, and how the prices of farm products are fixed. We need a debate on this. How the prices are fixed. There is no discussion on this issue. And where is the money going? When a farmer is investing,
so bring in Dinesh Gundurao, who is representing the Congress. Dinesh, I have two questions for you.
Where is that money going?
I have two questions for Dinesh Gundurao. Question number one.
There is one more this thing.
Yes. So I'll come to you. I just want to bring in other voices. Dinesh Gundurao, my first question is, Shaina Nancy says that it's the opposition that's riling up the farmers. We've had evidence of members of the Congress party who've been making insightful speeches. One second. Mr. Pandey, come down. We've had evidence of members of the Congress party making insightful speeches, asking people to burn things down in Madhya Pradesh. Secondly, I also want to understand the BJP is an opposition in the state of Karnataka, and they've gone out to say anyone who doesn't support a farm loan waiver is an anti-farmer government. There's a lot of double-speak coming in from where the BJP is in power and when they're in opposition. Dinesh Gundurao, has the opposition in all states, irrespective of parties, been riling up farmers to destabilize governments?
See, let's not get into destabilizing governments. Politics will always have a role when governments exist, and opposition parties will always do politics, whether it's BJP, Congress, any other. But that apart. But here is what is the interest of the farmer? How do we come to his aid? The problem with the Modi government was the first 2 years they hardly raised the MSP of any of the commodities or any of the crops. Only now they realized and they started raising it a little bit, which is very, very insufficient. They've gone back on their promise. It's become a blatant lie about saying 50% more on the input cost. And the third thing is, the effect of the economy of demonetization has hit the farmers very badly. Today, they are importing dal, they are importing edible oil, and here there is huge production. The prices have collapsed. There is no cash with the purchaser. So that is why this whole thing has spiraled out. This is a complete failure of the central government. And today, at least the government of India should come forth and say, yes, we may have made a few mistakes, but we will stand by the farming community. Loan waiver is not a solution. But let me tell you, loan waiver is required today because it's an acute distress. So why is not the government of India at least sending out a helping hand to the farmer? Why can't the government of India say, yes, we will stand by you? They have made such huge windfall gains on petroleum and oil imports. Why can't they pass on something to the poor farmer?
Chandrasekhar is right. We've heard you out. Chandrasekhar is a commodity expert. Mr. Chandrasekhar has always disagreed.
Whether it's BJP in opposition in Karnataka
Right, Mr. Chandrasekhar has always disagreed with the farm loan waiver. But Mr. Chandrasekhar, I just want to point out the approach right now.
The problem is the same
throughout. Right, Mr. Chandrasekhar joins us. 1 second. Dinesh, let me just bring in Mr. Chandrasekhar.
Because the farmers' voice is not heard.
I just want 10 seconds.
Let me just finish. Why is it that when we talk about waiving the farm loans, why is it everybody, experts come and say that this should not be done? When you write off lakhs and lakhs of crores of rupees of the corporate loans and then nobody talks about it. For the farmer, he is breaking his back. Today he is in acute distress. Give him a helping hand. He is the Annadata. Don't you have so much, at least that much of concern for the farmer? Even a 50,000 rupees loan waiver is going to help the farmer. But the government of India has closed its eyes. It's blind. It's not coming to the aid of the farmer. They're just coming out with big slogans of Sinchai mission, soil health card. This is all not going to work. Today when they're in acute distress, please come and give a helping hand.
No, I want to bring in 1 second. Mr. Chandrasekhar hasn't spoken yet. I'll ask the panel to just give me 2 minutes to bring in Mr. Chandrasekhar.
I have a question for both the Congress and the BJP. Just allow me 10 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. Akash Jindal, 10 seconds.
Allow me 10 seconds, please. I want to know this from Congress. I want to know both from Congress and the BJP. Where would this money come from? Expenditure can't be reduced of the states. Taxes can't be generated this year. This is the GST year, experimentation year. Would you ultimately resort to borrowing? The states resort to borrowing, and if they do so, how would those loans be repaid? Please educate and enlighten me on that. Secondly, 70 years.
No, you asked for 10 seconds. You asked for Akash Jindal, members of the panel have not even spoken yet. You asked for 10 seconds. I will come back to you. I want to point out, Akash Jindal, 1 second, Akash Jindal. I want to bring in G. Chandrasekhar, and I also want to point out in the answer to your question that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra had said clearly that he will leave the 30% government jobs that are vacant right now. He will continue to leave them vacant in order to make up for the loss, and he will cut expenditure from other spaces in order to make up for the money that's going to be spent here. But we are interested to know whether the rest of the states are going to make that money from. G. Chandrasekhar, the confusing messages being sent out where BJP state governments are saying farm loan waiver, central government is asking if it has become fashionable now for farmers to borrow and not pay their money back. This is offensive. It's also confusing, G. Chandrasekhar.
Absolutely. But say before that, let me say, please, your channel, I think, is a progressive channel. Don't allow this to become a political battlefield. I don't like this my business at all. We as a nation, all of us have to recognize the distress conditions of farmers in a number of states. That's the first proposition. But again, let me reiterate what I said last week on your channel, that waiving farm loans is an absolutely perverse incentive that governments could give to the farming community, because this is like plucking the low-hanging fruit. There are serious structural issues of agriculture in our country which have continued for several decades, and we need to start addressing those structural issues. Therefore, as a nation, we need to have a strong movement. We need to have a national policy for revitalizing agriculture and for agriculture resurgence. We are not discussing that. All of us are talking about only farm loan waiver. Farm loan waiver is a very small part of a very large agriculture ecosystem. And the cost is going to be enormous. And once you start this phase of farm loan waiver by individual states, we had that 10 years ago, 70,000 crores from the center. Now, individual states are now beginning to waive farm loan, this will have a contagion effect. And this could spread, this would continue to spread in future. This is something best avoided for the country. And therefore,
right. but best avoid. I think. Okay. Let me just now bring us back. And I think Mr. Chandrashekhar has made a very good point. We should not turn this into a political slugfest. We have over the last couple of weeks come to the agreement that farmers are in distress. I want to personally say that making any sort of statement about the fact that this is fashionable is offensive to every farmer and every child of every farmer, which most of our politicians are. Mr. Prakash Ambedkar, the truth is, we've not done enough, like you pointed out, since your grandfather's time. Yes. No government has done enough to help our farmers, and this is just making things worse.
Neither the Congress is doing it nor the BJP is doing it. I call them as a Banya party. And they are basically helping the Banyas rather than the farmers. And therefore we have this plight. As I asked what was the procurement of the government, no answer was coming. As I've already pointed out, that give the names of those persons who are importing oil in this country. There's a racket which is going on, and no government is ready to crack that racket. Even if you take the pulses last year, I come from an area which provides about 30% of the pulses to the nation. The collector and others have sent a report last year in July that the crop is a failure and there would be pulses crisis. But no government took a decision that we should import pulses in time. India is a 120 billion population. And when anything is in shortage, the world prices shoots up, and they allowed the prices to shoot up, and then they allowed the import of the products, and therefore you had tur dal at 200 rupees a kilo. So who is responsible for this? It is a deliberate attempt of the government to enrich the middlemen on one part and the traders on the other part. Both Congress and BJP are parties of traders, they are not the parties of the farmers. The day the farmer realizes that he has to have his own representative in the assembly, then only the plight of the farmer is going to be addressed in this country. Otherwise, suicides are a common, and they are going to remain a common factor, because whatever security is inbuilt in that GATT agreement, no government is ready to implement it. I come from an area which is a cotton producing area, and we have been fighting against it, that you have to see that the cotton prices are stabilized in this country, and therefore you should levy import on the import of cotton. This year you saw that when the prices rose up, the government all of a sudden said no, we will import cotton, and the prices went down. So the government is responsible for the prices being at the lower level. The farmers should realize that this is a government of the Banyas, and this is not the farmer. This is not the government of the farmers. The day the farmer realizes this, his plight will be addressed.
Well, I also want to bring in Dr. Ravi Prasad, who's on the phone line right now. Doctor,
yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay, go ahead. Yogesh Pandey, go ahead.
Yeah, Faye. Now on 1st July, now we are going to have a GST. And what is its impact on agriculture sector? We need to have a discussion on that also.
That's a separate discussion. We do have one planned. It's a separate discussion.
Yeah, we need discussion on agri sector. Prices of fertilizer are going to rise. Prices of pesticides, prices of agriculture implement, prices of tractors, prices of all agriculture activities are going to be increased. And smartly, this government, central government, is pulling money from the pockets of farmer. Now, why is government so adamant? Central government is very adamant. It is their responsibility to help the state government and take their share in this favor. Why not them? Now, years after years, farmers are consumers. They are paying indirectly in several other manner, and government is earning lot of money through farmers. But now they are avoiding their responsibility. It's very sad state, and that is one of the way from where the funds can be generated. Now, second point is, we are asking waiver for a genuine farmer who are very in need, who are genuinely full-time doing in farming activity. But again, the figure will come down. But there is no discussion on this, and Central is totally passing this ball at the state end. Third, one more issue about 7th Pay Commission. When you are saying that there are no funds, 10 or 7 pay commission, the pay scale are high up more more than 6 figures.
Okay. Let me bring in one more voice, please. Yogesh Pandey, we have a couple of people on the phone line. I've heard your concern. Dr. Ravi Prasad has just called us on our live line. He's the president of Coromandel International, which is a fertilizer company. He was a point to make. I apologize for making you hold this long. Dr. Prasad, go ahead. We can hear you now. Dr. Prasad, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. At the outset, let me thank all of you for giving me a phone-in opportunity. We are the world's third largest food producing. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
We are the world's third largest food producer, second largest fertilizer consumer.
Yes.
Second largest fertilizer consumer.
No, but what's your point? What do you want to add to this? What do you want to add to this debate, Dr. Prasad?
We should be able to bring in a real farmer onto this debate. Number two, a farmer doesn't commit suicide just because he is forced to pay back his loans.
Yes. All right. So that's a fair point. While we're discussing politics, we're discussing all of these other things. We have to bring
one point I would like to make.
Yes, Dinesh, let me just finish making my point. We have to bring back focus to the fact that farmers are dying. Just now, there was an ANI, news post that came out saying another farmer in Madhya Pradesh has killed himself. Now, when someone kills themselves, it is not about politics. It's not about derailing a government. It is not about destabilizing something. It's not about this way or that way. But if there is news and evidence that people are killing themselves, it's because we have collectively as a country failed our farmers year after year, decade after decade, government after government. We have not done better. And that is why our farmers are killing themselves. And it is up to each of us who will sit down to dinner tonight with our families and eat the food that our farmers have grown. It is up to each of us to do better and demand better accountability. Dinesh Gundurao, go ahead.
Yeah, see, one issue I'd like to point out here is there's a huge moral outcry when you say we're going to waive off loans to farmers. But during Manmohan Singh's government, there was a 3 lakh crore bailout because of global meltdown to industries. 3 lakh crores. Nobody says anything. Farmer loans, 75,000 crores waive off. Oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to help. Why is this moral outcry when it comes to the farmer? And it's not done very often. But industry every year gets bailouts and waive-offs and write-offs and NPAs and so many things. So let's put that aside. When the farmer is in distress, let's do something about it. One. Second thing is, there needs to be better pricing for his crop. That's the most important thing for the farmer. So there has to be regular increase in the minimum support price and better procurement. Government of India's policy should always be saying that we improve our procurement and keep on increasing MSP. And the markets, improve our markets. Like government of Karnataka is today the leading, we have a unified market in Karnataka, all our APMCs are unified. Government of India is learning from us and trying to implement it throughout the country. Because of this, in the last 3 years, our farmers are getting 35% on an average better price compared to what they were getting earlier. This has been proved because of having a unified market in Karnataka. So we need to improve all the infrastructure, improve the price that the farmer gets, and stand by him when he's in distress. Now, when he's in distress, if Government of India washes their hands of the farmer and says, we won't do anything about this, we are doing other schemes like Sinchai Mission and Soil Health Card, it's not going to work. So my request to Shaina is, please tell your Government of India to be a part of this farmer.
So Mr. Dinesh Gundurao, why did 821 farmers commit suicide in the state of Karnataka just this year? Last year in 2016, the state of Karnataka's suicide rate among farmers was the highest in any state. Also, we have on this channel come across the fact that the government's procurement scheme and distribution scheme is extremely corrupt, and you're currently conducting an investigation yourself. Shaina NC wants to respond. Shaina, go ahead.
In your home state.
Shaina NC, go ahead.
Mr. Gundurao, first contain the farmer suicides in your own home state rather than sermonizing and giving us a big lecture. Do understand that the kind of suicides that have happened in Karnataka, which seem to be in an ideal utopian space, is something that you have chosen to have blinkers on for. I just want to say two things.
Utopian,
Fair,
but
listen
your
to me, please.
unified
Okay, let her answer, please. Dinesh Gundurao, let her answer.
We are borrowing what we have done, and you want to implement it in the throughout the country.
Let her answer. Let her answer.
Take a state like Maharashtra.
I'm just saying,
1 minute.
stand by the farmer when he's in need.
Go ahead, Shaina, go ahead.
Sir, we stand by the farmers, and that's why we're even discussing, let's come up with concrete solutions. Let's come up with solutions from this debate rather than me speaking about what we've done and you speak about what we've done wrong. First, you take a state like Maharashtra. What did we inherit? A 70,000 crore irrigation scam where not even 1% of our land is irrigated. Why are we in this infrastructure crisis today? Because you have dams which have collapsed. Why has Jalyuk Shivar been talked about at MIT and Harvard as a case study? Because we have shown by basic construction you can do away with all kinds
I can tell you what we've done in Karnataka.
All right, we're going to turn this. See, I want the both of you to stop from turning this into a political slugfest.
I can talk about Karnataka.
1 second.
I have a question which is on hold for the past 15 minutes. Please allow me to ask that question. Please allow me to ask that question.
Okay, hang on, everyone, just calm down for a second. I'm going to give Akash Jindal.
When the loans of others are waived off, I will walk.
Everyone, please, gentlemen, 1 second. Everybody calm down. Shaina, calm down. Akash Jindal, go ahead. What's your question?
Mr. Please stop this nonsense. You see, hello.
Yeah, my question is, what about those farmers who have been paying their farm loans till now? How would they feel that they have been paying their farm loans and others' farm loans are being waived off? Right. The person who has been genuinely paying his farm loans. One question. Secondly, you just said that the Maharashtra plans that the job...
Okay, I heard your question. I'm going to give Chengal Reddy 1 second.
No.
Chengal Reddy, go ahead.
Please stop this.
What happens to employment
kindly ask them to stop for a while. Kindly
Akash Jindal, I heard your question. Akash Jindal, I heard your question. Chengal Reddy, go ahead.
Ultimately, we are going to fall back on the central government.
There are 3-4 issues. Please ask this. The first thing is, farmers are going to continue the agitation. Because this loan waiver business is only a very, very nominal thing which we are not going to accept. And we also know that states are have limited and they can't do it. The second aspect is we want some sort of, as Chandrashekhar said, a comprehensive plan to come before the farmers of India, all the 600 million, what is going to be done. Now, this job can't be done by Tom, Dick and Harry, this Maharashtra's, Karnataka's, Congress, BJP's can't do. Only thing that can happen is Mr. Modi and all other political parties sit together and come out with a plan. I'm asking all the political chaps one simple thing. You have the same IT policy, you have the same GST policy, you have same defense policy, you have same foreign policy. Why don't you have a common agriculture policy? What is our difficulty? Except, you see, coming and shouting in this paper.
Absolutely.
What really pains to, I want to tell both this, 1 second, just give 1 second to this Congress and BJP is, the congressmen should try to understand, for 8 years you sat on MSP report, Swaminathan report, you didn't do anything. Now you are making some ghalla gulla. Now I am asking BJP, how come you people have, in the past 3 years, have committed so many irregularities? Your Prime Minister has broken his promise, and your BJP manifesto is thrown into dustbin, and you are going ahead. And today, let me warn you, you see, this is not a question of Congress, BJP. As Chandrashekhar said, there is going to be a catastrophe in this country. Farmers are on mutiny. Please understand this word, it's not liberal. We are in a mutiny, we are furious, because this is a mess created by the political parties and also complemented by these bureaucrats and to an extent the businessmen. If the country wants to be saved, I leave it to probably the only person who can do is Mr. Modi, and if he is sensible enough, smart enough, I hope he will understand and let the other political parties all support. Okay. It's not going to stop, and you will all have a lot of problem in cities.
I have to wrap up this discussion, Mr. Chengal Reddy. I'm going to leave it at what you have said. It's very clear that there is a clear understanding that this is what the farmers need. They need a full plan. It's not about handing out lollipops and pretending that you're being generous. There has been a committee report, the Swaminathan committee report has been sitting on the tables of our government since 2006 and we've done nothing about it. Everybody seems to agree that the farmers need support price, that the farmers need go-downs, that they need cold chaining, including the union minister himself. But what we wind up doing over and over again is turning them into a pawn in our political games. And this is where the buck has to stop. The urban audience today, I appeal to you. We cannot turn our eyes away from our farmers anymore. It is not okay for us to not know what's going on in our farms. It's not okay for us to not know how much irrigation has improved in the last 4 years, because we're going to vote and we have to make these choices. And if our farmers are in distress, remember, our country is about Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan. We cannot afford to forget the second half of that slogan. It is our responsibility to stand by our farmers. They're killing themselves. It is that desperate a situation. We will not allow the government to turn this into a political hot potato that they splash about by making statements like fashionable whenever they feel like it. Stand with the farmers and in the very least, show your seriousness for the problem at hand. Thanks for watching.